Hey everyone. So, I noticed this growing trend in Christianity where people basically tear each other apart, limb from limb, for everybody's view or everybody's interpretation or everybody's visions or dreams or whatever they decide to share with people. And I gotta be honest, I really just don't see how that's effective for anything at all. I mean, there's a lot of people that are really quick to say, oh, you're a false teacher, oh, you're going to hell, God's gonna judge you, and yet we do the same things. We still sin. We follow false ways in our life. Nobody's perfect. We can't go and condemn people to hell. It just doesn't work like that. God's the only one who can condemn you to hell. And if God doesn't say you're going to hell, you're not going to hell. And it's nobody's job to actually condemn people. Isn't it said in the Bible that we should choose our words in a way that only builds each other up and then try to encourage each other? Just because somebody has a different view doesn't mean that they're automatically out of the true circle of believers. Everybody's view is going to be different. And there are supposed to be a lot of false preachers and different things, but people have different interpretations. It's not our job to go and condemn people. It was never our job to go and tell people they're going to hell. There's no goodness or mercy or anything in that. It's our job to teach and to encourage and to build each other up. That's what it said in the Bible. It doesn't say to tear each other apart and shame each other constantly. We should have an attitude that is very sensitive to sin and where we despise it. But that doesn't mean that we despise each other just because of a different view. It's even said in Romans, I believe, that people have different faith. I don't mean like you can worship Allah or whatever and still be a Christian. I mean like if you see something differently and you only feel comfortable eating vegetables or whatever, the other person's not supposed to judge the person for that. And the person that only eats vegetables shouldn't be judging the other person either. It works both ways. Everybody should help each other, not tear each other apart and treat each other like nobody belongs. Because that's how we get people that are bitter and angry and even people that fall away. And it seems like all people want to do is fight anymore. You go on a YouTube video for any subject and there's going to be 30,000 different people and a whole bunch of replies to every comment. You go on Facebook, go on whatever, and I'm seriously like just about to quit all of that because I just don't see there's no encouragement in it anymore. There's no, everything's got to be a certain way or everybody's not going to be happy, and nobody's actually happy. Nobody says the same thing. Everybody just sits and disagrees, and that would be fine, but people can't keep it clean. There's people who cuss each other out because of this stuff, and they profess Christianity, and yet they talk like people who don't care about the other person at all. I've seen swear words and nasty remarks and sarcasm, and I'm not perfect either. I have my moments. But why do we have to do this? We're not building each other up. We're not helping each other. We're tearing each other apart and dividing. Doesn't it also say in the Bible not to divide over small matters? People literally fight about, if it was like major things like the issue of divorce and remarriage, or the issue of the unpardonable sin, whatever, stuff like big things, but people divide over the smallest doctrines and the smallest matters, and there's no reason for it. Like, there are whole groups that say that unless you become a Christian Celtic or whatever and move into the woods, then you don't have any salvation. And there's whole groups that say that you have to do something a certain way, and a whole group that says that you have to do another thing a certain way. And I don't understand what the point in all of this is. Why can't we come together? That's what the devil wants. It's literally said in the Bible that the devil wants nothing but to kill, steal, and destroy, to divide the people, to split the church up, to tear each other to pieces. That's it. That's all that the devil wants. To keep people from God. That's their idea. There's nothing else. There's no goodness in it. Dividing isn't making us stronger, it's making us weaker. All these little tiny groups and denominations and Christian cults and whatever you want to call it, it doesn't help. We need to come together and try to include each other in everything and teach each other and encourage. Jesus didn't eat with sinners to prove that we should somehow alienate the outcasts. If anything, Jesus ate with sinners to prove that we need to take people in and be part of this together. The Christian walk isn't supposed to be one person in every 1,000 walking alone with no help or no people by his side. We're supposed to be a church, a brotherhood of people and believers and goodness and godly values. We're not supposed to split up and tear each other to pieces. How does that make us look good? And then there are atheist people who actually admit that this is the thing that splits their whole view of Christianity into either bitter hatred or hopelessness. It doesn't do anything good for these people. That's not being the light of the world. In doing this, all we've proven is that mankind can turn even the greatest gifts of God into something that's just unrighteous and unpure. And it makes us look horrible. This is why people have bad views of Christianity, because they think that once you're a Christian, you've got to be uptight and judgmental and miserable, and that's what people show people. It's not like a doctrine that's been indoctrinated into the world. It's not just one of those stereotypes. It's an actual thing that people do. People tear each other apart every day and then expect God to see that as somehow being the light of the world. We're supposed to show love and kindness. Let me ask you this, okay? There's a parable in the Bible, actually, that one man said he was going to do good and ended up not doing anything. And the other man said he wasn't going to do it, but later changed his mind and did good. Who's more righteous? Okay, one person sits and condemns people and judges them and tells them that there's no hope or whatever, and basically tells them that coming to heaven or coming to God is impossible. And there's little to no hope for these people because they're such sinners. And what does that do? Does that bring people to see how much they love God all of a sudden? Because it certainly didn't with me. And I know a lot of people that it didn't with either. And what about the other person? Let's say there's a person who teaches love and gives to the poor and spreads kindness, does favors for people and shows people how much God loves them, and shares their testimony and shares goodwill and tries to include all the aspects of God into all the aspects of his life, to show people that being a Christian isn't just about condemnation and worrying about sin. It's about a relationship and happiness and finding a new life that's beautiful. That's the point. That's what we're trying to get across. We're not trying to sugarcoat it. We're trying to make people see that Christianity isn't horrible. Did Paul ever say that Christianity was just like slavery? Paul was one of the happiest people in the world to be indoctrinated into the faith. That's what happened. That's what Jesus does. He doesn't give us a spirit of fear and condemnation and judgment. He gives us a spirit of life. And it's not impossible to come to God. If anything, it's easy. God told us it's as easy as drinking a glass of water. Come to God. He gives freely. Open the door, and I will sit and eat with you. It's as simple as that. And yet people want to overcomplicate it with telling people that there's little to no hope because they're stuck in a certain sin, and yet they completely reject the promise of the gospel to show people. That's what matters. We show people. We bring people to God. And I hope that people will learn that. God bless you.